Donald Trump actually said our new military will bring back new focus on fitness. I love the idea that Trump is lecturing these guys on fitness. I mean, if that isn't the fondue pot calling the kettle fat, I don't know what is. Listen up, generals. I want to make something very clear. The Pillsbury Dough president wants you to do Pilates. The only push-ups Donald Trump does are from the side of an ice cream truck. If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, you are unfit to serve in the military.
The fun thing about a roast is that you don't need to make up jokes when the people you're roasting are already acting like jokes themselves. Donald Trump and Karoline Leavitt proved this perfectly. Real life has become funnier than any comedy show. These two together are so silly that Jimmy Kimmel doesn't even need to hire joke writers. He just watches them and the comedy writes itself. Trump, who is the current president, still believes that one day history will call him a great hero. And Karoline Leavitt runs behind him like a super excited cheerleader, repeating his crazy ideas with full confidence, like someone who has never ever doubted anything in her life.
Karoline Leavitt, his press secretary, the woman who keeps insisting Trump didn't draw this or sign this in 2003, she was 5 years old. She was too young even for Jeffrey Epstein in 2000. She knows. He knows. They're all... I love that these people are so certain he didn't do this. Well, he's never lied before.
The first thing Kimmel jokes about is how much the president wants people to think he's a genius. He makes fun of how Trump acts like yelling louder than everyone else is a smart plan. Trump treats every press talk like the dramatic last episode of a reality TV show. He uses big pauses, wild hand movements, and promises that make sense only in his own head. Kimmel describes him like a leader who thinks clapping is the same as real work, and who believes retweets online mean he's doing a great job. The jokes hit hard because they show how silly it is to run the White House like it's a TV set.
The only push-ups Donald Trump does are from the side of an ice cream truck. If you get so fat you start breaking escalators, you are unfit to serve in the military. But unfortunately, fantasy is more powerful than reality in this MAGA-sphere we live in, which meant it was time for our Commander-in-Cheeseburger to weigh in on one of the most pressing issues our military faces today, unattractive.
If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. Karoline Leavitt, on the other hand, gets roasted for being Trump's super eager sidekick in this crazy show. She doesn't just offend him, she makes his nonsense sound even bigger, like it's holy truth. Kimmel uses jokes to show how her blind loyalty just looks sad. She copies everything Trump says, not with smart arguments, but with the energy of a loud college debater who thinks shouting makes you win. Instead of asking him questions, she sells his wild ideas like they're brilliant, even when they fall apart with basic logic.
We heard from her. She said she forgives the man who shot and killed her husband. And then right after that, we heard from the president who said, I hate my opponent and I don't want the best for them. How does that square with bringing down the temperature of political violence in this country?
Look, the president is authentically himself. I think that's why millions of Americans across the country love him and support him, including Erica Kirk, who you saw so beautifully was on stage with the president.
Kimmel then makes fun of how Trump treats facts like annoying mosquitoes. He just swats them away whenever they get close. It's not that he doesn't understand the truth. It's that he can't stand it. Every time he changes his story, denies something, or flips it around, he acts like that makes him strong. Kimmel compares this to a magician who can't do the trick, but keeps insisting the rabbit is still in the hat. The reason this is so funny is because Trump's behavior is already like a cartoon, so you don't even need to exaggerate it.
Just yesterday, there's this video of what seemed to be garbage bags being thrown out of the window of the Lincoln bedroom. That's the White House. The official response from the White House said it was maintenance work being done while Trump was off on one of his many golf weekends. But Trump is even contradicting his own White House now.
There's a video circulating online now from the White House. Yeah. You know, somebody's thrown on the window.
No, that's probably...
Karoline Leavitt doesn't escape the jokes either. Her plan is simple. Repeat Trump's nonsense, but with a super serious face. If Trump says the sky is green, she'll write a whole essay about why blue is overrated. Kimmel points out how empty this is. She's not trying to lead anyone or share ideas. She's just being a speaker for Trump's ego. Her speeches, when you take away the drama, are just the same applause lines Trump always uses. The roast lands well because it shows how she's basically doing political karaoke, singing someone else's song, not leading anything herself.
And he's already figured out where to get the money. Trump today became the first president to sue the New York Times. He's suing the New York Times for $15 billion defamation. $15 billion. Where does he even come up? These are like numbers my children make up when they're talking about money. I thought he said the New York Times was failing. He thinks they have $15 billion? How much would he sue for if he thought they were doing?
Next, Kimmel focuses on Trump's love for looking at himself. Here's a president who cares more about mirrors than making laws. He acts like every camera is there to worship him. Kimmel paints him as someone trapped in his own reflection, unable to tell the difference between running a country and posing for a photo shoot. His obsession with looking powerful actually makes him weaker, because everything he does is for show, not real results. Kimmel laughs at how Trump believes good lighting and clapping can change history. Karoline Leavitt is like the cheerleader for this vanity project. She sells his image like it's the most important thing in the country, pretending that repeating flattery is real leadership. Kimmel calls this political cosplay, because she's just pretending to do something meaningful while trying to make Trump look smart, something even a magician couldn't pull off.
Here, the president has been hard at work coming up with all sorts of nonsense to distract us from the Epstein files, including, I don't know if you saw this, but he made a major announcement. I am ordering my administration to declassify and release all government records related to Amelia Earhart, her final tip and everything else about her. Thank you for your attention to this.
Then Kimmel talks about Trump's love for fighting with people. He treats picking arguments like it's an Olympic sport. He argues with celebrities, world leaders, athletes, journalists, basically anyone, because he needs attention like he needs air. Kimmel makes fun of him by saying he acts like the president of a YouTube comment section. It's not a smart plan. It's childish behavior on steroids. Karoline Leavitt's part in this is just as silly. She repeats everything he says with wide-eyed loyalty, pouring gasoline on every fire instead of calming him down. The jokes sting because the truth is ridiculous. Two people thinking tantrums make them look like real leaders.
What is he hiding? Like, there has to be something in there about it. I can't imagine him doing this because he cares about anyone else. This Epstein list, it's the first time Trump didn't want his name on something. There's a lot of speculation, naturally, including from the writer Michael Wolff, who wrote a bunch of books about Trump. Wolff floated the possibility that Trump may have had Epstein killed himself, which, listen, I know he's done a lot of things, bad things, but I don't think Donald Trump ordered a hit on Jeffrey Epstein. And the reason I don't think he ordered a hit is because if he did, he would.
Next, the focus moves to Trump's bad relationship with responsibility. He avoids it like he's allergic. Every mistake is someone else's fault. Every failure becomes a conspiracy. Every disaster is twisted into proof of how great he is. Kimmel compares him to a student who says the dog ate his homework, the printer broke, the teacher is unfair, and the whole school is out to get him, all at the same time. He wants praise when things go well, but hides when they don't. Karoline Leavitt is always there to cover for him, turning his excuses into patriotic slogans. She acts like the world has to change to fit Trump's story. Kimmel makes fun of how she sells broken ideas like a carnival barker selling junk, proving that her loyalty doesn't make Trump look strong. It makes the whole act look pathetic. The joke is on both of them, and on anyone who believes blind loyalty equals real skill.
Well, Trump announced the suit this morning. He wrote, "Today I have great honor of bringing a $15 billion defamation and libel lawsuit against the New York Times, one of the worst and most degenerate newspapers in the history of our country. The Times has engaged in a decades-long method of lying about your favorite president, me, our family business, the America First movement, MAGA, and our nation as a whole. The New York Times has been allowed to freely lie, smear, and defame me for far too long, and that's
Kimmel then goes after Trump's weird idea of patriotism. For him, the flag isn't a serious symbol. It's just a prop for his rallies. Patriotism becomes like a show, with practiced moves and empty words, while real sacrifice is ignored. Kimmel describes him like someone who treats national pride as a marketing trick, confusing the show with real leadership. Karoline Leavitt joins in by repeating these fake patriotic lines with total seriousness, wrapping his stage performances in fake holiness. Kimmel tears this apart, showing how empty it is to treat branding like real love for the country. Trump isn't focused on real achievements. He wants monuments, statues, libraries, but Kimmel jokes that he'll end up with memes, bloopers, and mockery instead. It's not just failure. It's failure mixed with delusion.
any we may have heard of, by the way. 7 wars. Last week it was 10 wars. Now it's 7. Tomorrow it'll be 15 wars. This guy is ending. He ended Star Wars. I don't know if you heard that. He did. One Mark Hamill. Had to move on to other things. Listen, I have an idea of how you can get people to stop talking about releasing the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. That was...
Karoline Leavitt's role in this fantasy also gets roasted. She acts like the manager of Trump's fake legacy, polishing the outside while the inside is falling apart. Kimmel exposes her like a tour guide in an empty museum, selling tickets to exhibits that don't exist. The joke is how they're trying to convince everyone that greatness is happening while everything is actually collapsing. Kimmel doesn't just point out their mistakes. He shows how the whole act is built on nonsense. Trump is shown as a president who couldn't stop turning politics into a circus, choosing drama over real work. The jokes hit hard because they're true. Trump traded real leadership for TV ratings. His greatness falls apart under the weight of his own showmanship. Karoline Leavitt's role is just as silly. She wasn't a serious leader, just the warm-up act for his next outburst.
Trump says at times is run by a bunch of lefties. He claims they're a mouthpiece for the Democrats. I have to say, I did do today's Wordle, and I don't know if you did, but he might be right. That's how ridiculous it is. This might be one of the funniest legal documents I've ever seen. It's quite a tongue bath. One page lists Trump's, quote, hundreds of history-making media appearances, including WrestleMania 5, All My Children, Ghost Can't Do It, 2 Weeks Notice, Days of Our Lives, Miss USA, Miss Universe, The Ali G Show, Marmalade, and much more.
Karoline Leavitt's loyalty wasn't about real beliefs. It was about making Trump's insecurities sound like power. She didn't make him stronger. She just repeated his nonsense like a mirror. She became the second voice in a closed echo chamber that only his followers took seriously. Her big mistake was thinking that copying chaos made her part of history instead of its joke. Kimmel shows how the two of them accidentally turned politics into a comedy skit. Every speech became like a TV sketch. Every slogan sounded recycled. Trump provided the crazy behavior and bragging, and Karoline Leavitt made sure it was heard. Together, they created a routine so wild that it could have been a late-night comedy show without changing a word. Kimmel doesn't have to exaggerate. He just connects the dots and shows the comedy inside the presidency. Trump saw himself as a great leader. History will remember him as a blooper reel. Karoline Leavitt thought she was shaping history. She became a tiny footnote, remembered only for selling nonsense like it was genius.
President, this is all another elaborate, made-up Democrat plot to distract us from the historically awesome job he is doing.
I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
You're almost at the I never met anyone named Jeffrey Epstein part of it story.
So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars.
That's a lot of work.
Kimmel ends by showing that their wild dreams didn't make them great. They made them look ridiculous. The more they tried to control the story, the funnier it got. Laughter became the only response. His roast works so well because he uses humor, not anger. Anger can be argued with, but comedy sticks. Once the jokes land, people can't take Trump's big ego or Karoline Leavitt's devotion seriously anymore. Trump, who thought he was larger than life, but is actually fragile, and Karoline Leavitt, eager but forgettable, are shown to be actors pretending to be leaders. Kimmel makes sure they'll be remembered, not as legends, but as part of a political comedy gone wrong. The loud show they put on has turned into laughter, and their dream of being remembered as visionaries has instead made them punchlines in a never-ending comedy show.